You better get ready for a brand new day. The Cubs are gonna win today.
Welcome back, everybody. You Don't Know Cubs is live, coming at you on another Sunday night as the Cubs just finished up their 17th game in a row. Pretty long stretch for the boys out there, and they came out of it pretty on top. I believe they went 12-5 from what my notes had, and then this week they lost one game. Pretty impressive coming out of the MLB trade deadline. And yeah, I mean, we got a lot to talk about on today's episode. I think the majority of it is going to be obviously the MVP race. I mean, that's been the hottest topic. We've been on here for months now. I feel like I said, I think I mentioned this on a podcast before. We've been talking about the PCA MVP propaganda for like 2 months. I feel like it's just starting to like really, really be a legitimate chance that he does win it. So we got to dive into it because you're seeing a lot of different takes from a lot of different people. But so we got to reiterate our facts. We got some more stuff. But then a couple other topics. We got to talk about the new pitchers that we got. Clay Holmes, Kevin Gausman. They both made their debuts. How did they do? How did they look? We'll get our takes on them. We also want to talk about Alex Bregman because it's August. Is he heating up? Are we getting the Bregman we expected this month? We'll talk about it. And I want to bring up the Cubs defense. I want to do a little segment on that because I think we got to give them some more recognition. Not that they don't get recognition, but I think people are kind of underestimating how good the 2026 Chicago Cubs defense is. So again, if you're new here, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Sam. I am joined by my dad, Butch. Who are we? We are, well, basically my dad. We decided to start this podcast because we're long life Cubs fans. My dad's been watching the Cubs forever, and so have I. Grew up a Cubs fan, so we're here to give our unfiltered takes, the most realist Chicago Cubs podcast in the land. And being the most real Chicago Cubs podcast, it's going to come with some unfiltered, some I wouldn't say obnoxious, but like some loud takes. We have some loud takes on these episodes that sometimes we score on, and sometimes people will replay those clips of our takes and will make us look pretty questionable. And with that, so my dad here had a take back in April that is starting to blow up. It actually resurfaced online the other day. Cold Takes Exposed actually retweeted it on X, so you can go see it there. And there's a lot of people that are giving him some more shit for it. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to start this podcast to maybe defend himself and maybe stand on his take, because maybe we could pull up the clip for you. I don't have like, I'm not. Yeah, maybe we can put the clip up for you guys. I know this isn't like Joe Rogan where I got someone working behind me and can pull it up, but like basically the clip was send PCA down. This was at like when PCA was struggling at the plate, sword fighting, make a couple of errors in the field. You were out here calling for the Cubs to send PCA down.
No, you're way off on that one. First of all, it wasn't during his defensive struggles.
Can you acknowledge that you said to send PCA down?
I said, can we think about maybe we should send him down to AAA?
I don't know if those were the exact words out of your mouth. I thought you said
those are pretty close to exact words. I think it's time that we should think about maybe we should send him down to AAA to get his swing back. Because I can tell you where he was at that time. Through April 27th, 29 games into the season, here are his stats. He had one home run, all right? Get that, one home run. He had he had 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 1 walk. That was against. Oh man, I'm really screwing up my stats. Let me start over. First 29 games.
I'll help you.
One home run.
His OPS. One home run. His OPS in March and April was 669.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
669. See, I have it here. His stats were 241, 305, 315, 620. 1 homer, 7 ribbies, 3 doubles, and 1 triple. He was 26 for 119. He had 8 walks and 35 Ks. He was 6 out of 9 on stolen bases. Those stats are horrendous. And it was at the point he looked worse than Javi Baez. He was swinging at stuff just like Javi Baez, sword fighting. That was also transforming from what he finished the season last year. And that's why I was starting to get to the point. Is he maybe not the player we thought he was based on the end of last year in the first 29 games. So you're telling me that people didn't think that? I know people did. I was the only one that was vocal about it.
People did think that. I'm not saying that people did not. It did not cross minds at an instance, but like my whole take is while people may have thought it, the decision that the Cubs did not send him down and kept him up, obviously is paying dividends. So
Well,
you
I can give you credit on one thing because I listened to Joey Votto this week. All right.
I saw that too,
He,
actually. I know what you're about to
yeah,
say.
that was pretty good. Here's what Joey said. He says, and this goes for all younger players that want to get into the sport, that are new to the game, that just aren't quite hitting yet. The reason you're going to play, he says, is that because if you play good defense and you're a defensive stud, you have speed, you can steal bases, you can get on base somehow and make things happen, mostly stems from your defense. You're going to find those at bats in game situations because a coach is going to play you, which translate back to PCA in the month of April. And you stated that he's too good defensively to sit down. That is what kept him in there. You stated it. You pushed back on me. I have to agree. That was 100% accurate. The more I think about it, that is why he stayed in the game, plain and simple. Because let's also face, we can go all the way to May 29th. Look at the stats through May 29th. He was still horrendous. All right. He still wasn't hitting the ball. It wasn't until the San Diego series. But let's forget, he only had 2 home runs. There's only 2 hits in the San Diego series with 2 homers. Each one was 1 for 3 or 1 for 4. He hit a 3-run shot. Started to show signs. His patience started to come in. It didn't click until June 3rd, is when something happened. As Ian Happ stated this week, it was like you turned on the switch. No one knows. No one expected it. All of a sudden, he became a patient hitter, started walking, started seeing pitches. And what was he not doing? Swinging at those horrendous pitches. He lost that Javi. I call it the Javi Baez swing.
Mhm.
That's what changed him. So yeah, I was the one. I did state that his defense. You're 100% right. That's what kept him up on the major leagues.
So with that whole, it actually is amazing because your take wasn't necessarily wrong. PCA was struggling, like we said, but I think that just makes his story this season all the
True.
more impressive. And what really flipped that switch? I'm not really sure. I don't know if anyone knows. I don't know if he came out and expressed it, like if he was working with a new coach, or I heard there was rumors of some off the field stuff, like with maybe some stuff going on in his personal life. But something clicked, and you look at it. So some stats I have. So his OPS in March and April, like I mentioned, was 669, 669. His OPS after April jumped. It's currently 1.025. Insane.
No, you got to, yeah, but it's what makes it even worse than saying you got to add the month of May into it. He was horrendous in May too, because then it gives what you're just saying that jump even more insanity.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's the set I have right now. And then on the broadcast, just to mention, if you were watching today's game, they pulled up the graphic of since May 30th, PCA is second in the league in batting average. He's tied for
Right.
first in home runs, second in OBP, first in slug and WAR. It's
Well,
just like
yeah,
when we talk about this.
it's unreal.
So,
I'm
but when we
here.
talk about this MVP race with Shohei, could you
That's a whole
imagine
different
if
topic.
but could you imagine if PCA was just like a little above average to start the season in this conversation and what his numbers would look like? I mean, it would
Well,
be
it's mind blowing because at the end of May 29th, he only had 6 homers, 24 RBIs. He was 12 for 16 in stolen bases. He had 22 walks at that point and 63 Ks. He was hitting 224, 314, 362, and a 676 OPS. It wasn't that good. And prior to that was the May 20th when he had those defensive struggles. It was right after the Sox series. He made those blunders against Milwaukee. And at that point, people were then saying, I think we need to sit him down. He needs to sit down. Something's not there. Something doesn't look good. That's when it really escalated about something's not going right with PCA. It was that week of May 20th through 29th. And then came June 1st. It was actually June 3rd. Bingo. So it escalates, like you just said. It's insanity.
Yeah, and especially when you think about the Sox series, and obviously when he missed the catch, and then he tells the one lady, what was it, suck my effing dick or whatever. So it does raise the question if like there was something going on because like to get obviously the chick was annoying, like definitely didn't need to say that, but like for a PCA being a pro guy, and you even weren't a fan of him saying that, maybe
No,
there was
still.
something built up inside of him for whatever reason. Like, there was something going on. Something flipped after that moment, like in a week
He
after.
matured.
Matured a little
He
bit, sure.
matured. He matured because what he did have then right after that is when he had those 2 errors against Milwaukee,
Yeah.
and that's when people were freaking out,
Mhm.
you know. And then like everyone has said, what happened?
Mhm.
No one can explain what the fuck happened to this guy. It's a whole new player.
Mhm.
And how cool is it to watch him play the game that and then look at what's his name? Council moved him up to first in the lineup. He was batting seventh, eighth, and ninth in the lineup.
Mhm.
So there was reason why I made that statement that maybe we should have moved him back to AAA. You were right. His defense kept him in the game. His defense kept his ABs going.
Mhm.
But I mean, he only moved him back to leadoff hitter for a reason because he started to show patience, and that
Mhm.
was the key. He started to become a hitter. He started to mature. So maybe Council when he did sit him, maybe it's Council who gets the credit for that.
Mhm.
I hate to give Council, I hate to eat crow on that, but man,
Mhm.
it's been exciting since June to watch what he has done to today. And
Wh-
and it goes into that whole new topic.
Yeah, let's switch over to let's revisit the case of PCA for MVP because it is at least the past couple of days, I think it's kind of weird how the majority of these major media outlets and are still pushing the narrative that like, yeah, PCA is having a great year, but Shohei's still the MVP. And it's almost like they're completely shooting down PCA even being in the real running for Shohei. But it's like, did we not just watch the Cubs sweep the Dodgers and PCA pretty much outplay Shohei? I know Shohei had a really good series as well. He had 6 bombs. Sorry, he had 6 hits, 2 bombs, scored 3 runs, but PCA also had 6 hits. He also had 2 bombs. He scored 5 runs, played elite defense, and was a threat on the base pass. He outplayed Shohei. And obviously, your team won 3 games. So, how does that not really spark the debate that PCA should be in the lead, especially if Shohei does not pitch another inning? And that's the topic that I just found out today. There was a new news or manager Dave Roberts came out and said that Shohei, who has not pitched since July 3rd due to his left knee, is likely going to pitch, or he started ramping up progressions. So he will probably pitch again this season, but it's going to be more of as an opener instead of a full-on starter. So you might only see him for a couple innings. If that's the case, I still think PCA has a shot in this because I'm still a big fan of defense. A lot of people will give that argument. I know Shohei's pitching at a Cy Young level, or he was. I still think with what he's doing on the defensive side, what he's doing on the base pass, and how he has been hitting better than Shohei, I'm still a fan of him as the MVP. I don't see why all of these, going back to my point with all these like major media outlets and all these like, why are they just completely shooting it down? Like it's not really a debate. It's kind of weird to me. Like maybe because the MLB wants to protect their golden boy in a sense, and you also got to consider voter fatigue in this conversation. Maybe that could help like PCA's case. So it's an interesting conversation. It's definitely one to be had. It's not just like we're putting PCA in there just to make it feel good like there is a race. No, he legitimately should have a chance at this race, especially if he keeps it up at the pace he has. What do you think
Oh
right
yeah.
now? What's the key
Well,
for him?
there's a couple points to all that because I got into a huge debate just this morning about that, and it's a non-baseball guy, but he was, debating Otani. And here's my thing: you got to remember a couple of things. It's based on 2026. Okay, we're voting for the MVP of 2026. Anything that has happened, championships, World Series, anything that's happened prior to I think it was March 30th doesn't matter when you're voting for the MVP of 2026. It's this year. And based on that, the one thing PCA has quietly passed Shohei Ohtani and the number one stat that is supposed to measure everything a baseball player does,
Mm-hmm.
and that is WAR.
Mm-hmm.
And despite getting value as both a hitter and a pitcher, PCA is currently listed at an 8.0 WAR through 117 games.
Hmm.
When you go and look up WAR, when you're at 8 and higher, that is MVP statue. All right, he is there. So if all these professional national people are going to vote, because they always say that's the deciding factor is WAR. What is your WAR? That's when they really look at the MVP. Hands down today, PCA is your MVP of 2026 as of today. And that even counts the fact that, everything about it. Here's the thing on the war. You might be able to say people are going to probably get like, what does that mean, war? What is it? What's it all based on? But again, the 8.0 war factor is based on Fangraph, who came out just today. He's ranked first. The difference is he's a plus 1.4 advantage over Shohei. You might be able to dumb down the war, as far as the meaning of war for people, because for me, it is a hard stat to understand. I'm slowly trying to get it, but it stands for wins above replacement. Okay.
Hmm.
You look at PCA's 21% higher than Shohei Ohtani right now, even with Shohei's pitching stats that he has from 2026. The problem is Shohei, he only hits. I mean, his base running is not factored into it, which it is for PCA. His defense is not factored into it, which it is for PCA. And when it comes to defense, PCA is by far the best outfielder in all of the MLB as of now.
Hmm.
That's why his WAR is up there.
Yeah, when we talk about war, like I said, I understand the overview of it. How they actually calculate the number is still like fishy to me. And if I botch my understanding of it, let me know in the comments or something. But like, it basically says, okay, PCA has an 8 WAR right now. That means that the Cubs have won 8 games specifically because of him. Wins above replacement. It's basically like how many wins does that player add to their team compared to a
A
readily
replacement
a
level
replacement.
player.
Exactly.
Like Conforto, for instance. Let's say if
Mhm.
you're playing Conforto, in that same position,
Mhm.
he has 8 more wins. And when they give you the calculations of it, when you get an 8 and above, you're in MVP status.
Mhm.
That is huge.
Well,
All
here's the
right.
thing too. Like, if PCA doesn't win the MVP this year, I mean, nobody will over Shohei Ohtani when Shohei Ohtani pitches. Because if you compare PCA stats right now to Chris Bryant's 2016 MVP stats,
I was just talking about that today.
he has a higher. He already is at Chris Bryant's WAR with
Right.
188 less at bats.
Yeah.
And Chris Bryant won MVP. And PCA is
Right.
already there with 188 less at bats. So if he doesn't win it, Shohei's going to win MVP every single season until he retires or stops pitching. So like this is the closest that we're ever going to get to someone taking out Shohei Ohtani.
Taking down the crown. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, you can't argue Shohei. Now, if Shohei would have kept pitching and, you would have had success. Yeah. All right. I mean, he's basically your modern day Babe Ruth.
But doesn't that make it even more impressive? Because Shohei Ohtani, the modern day Babe Ruth, nobody's going to be like Shohei Ohtani ever again. But for a player to even come close to Shohei Ohtani in this, in what he
There's
does,
no doubt.
I think it makes
There's
it
no
even
doubt.
more impressive that we're
There's
even
no
having
doubt.
a conversation and he's legitimately in it.
Yeah, and then let's just be honest too. I mean, would we still be having this huge conversation like we are? Like, would he really be number one Teddy if Otani was still pitching? If he was still pitching like he was when he stopped, no, I think Otani would be hands down the
Mhm.
MVP
Yeah.
in the race right now. But he's not. That's the whole point. He's not pitching now. He hasn't pitched for almost 60 days. And we all knew when they shut him down. Every baseball guy knew that come September, come after Labor Day, he's going to start pitching again. 1 inning, 2 innings. He's going to start amping it up for the playoffs because, and this was the argument I had today, because the Dodgers are focused on winning the pennant.
Mhm.
So there is a difference there. And of course, this guy had a good point. And now he's going to listen and be like, you took my stuff. He had a great point. The Dodgers are worried about winning the pennant. The Cubs aren't. Here we are as Cub fans. We're going to be happy and we're going to settle for the fact that PCA might win the MVP and that will take the narrative away from winning a pennant. and it
Mhm.
shouldn't. So
Yeah.
as of August, it's fun to enjoy the season to have this conversation about PCA winning the MVP. But let's be honest too. Ultimately, as Cub fans, we want to win a pennant too. We should have the mindset of the Dodgers. That should be our top goal right now is to
Mhm.
not just get into the playoffs, but to overtake the Brewers, overtake the Dodgers, and represent the National League in the World Series. That should be the focus, the mentality. We don't have that. The Dodgers do. So we need to get that.
Yeah, like we said the past couple weeks, I've been on the record saying that this is a World Series roster. I stand on it, and I do believe it.
Yes.
And also, right before we kind of shift over to the next topic I want to get to, I just want to reiterate that I was on the record before the season started when we were talking about, what are our preseason predictions? What's the key for the Cubs? I specifically said that the key to the Cubs is PCA. The Cubs go as far as PCA takes them. He is the key to this roster because if he's the one that's carrying this team, and he's back to an MVP level, the Cubs are going to be winning a lot of games. So I'm gonna reiterate that. Just
No,
just
you're
throwing it out
100%
there.
right. And then another throwback to that too is if PCA wants to win the MVP, Council, you can't be bringing them back down to Ohtani's level and DHing him 2 days in a row. You're going to give me this crap that today, like, they're looking to give him a little rest. As you know, as a ball player, we even touched on this before in a couple podcasts. You have a better tendency to hit when you're playing in the game than you do DHing, which then again is counterpoint for Otani. So look how great his stats are because he's able to do this DHing only. But PCA is a defensive stud. He needs to play. You don't need to worry about days rest with him because if you're worried about people and getting rest, why have they given Michael Busch a rest? All right. He's played
That
in
is such a. I'm sorry. That is
107.
such a horrible take. That is
Well,
such a
no, I'm
horrible
just
take.
ripping on Council because you know why? Because he wants to make sure that he plays his little boys in
No,
the
no,
outfield.
no,
That's
no, no,
why.
no, no, no.
Yes,
PCA. The Cubs are on a 17 games in a row. 17 days in a row they've been playing games. To DH
I know.
PCA,
Michael Bush
give
did.
him rest for
Michael
2 days.
Bush did.
Michael Busch is playing first base. PCA is playing
So
center
what?
field.
He's diving all over the first base. He's making plays.
It
Do
is
you want
so
to touch
much
base
more
about
wear and tear on your
defense?
body playing center field than first base.
Not that much more. Look
And
what Michael Bush does. He's involved in almost, 60% of the plays.
you can't compare Michael Bush's what's a
So he doesn't need a day off.
I'm not saying he doesn't
Michael
need a
Bush.
day off, but like don't try to compare Michael Bush to PCA. PCA deserves.
No,
He didn't
I'm
even
not
take a day
comparing
off.
the
He's just
players.
DHing. He's DHing it.
I'm not comparing the players. What I'm comparing is the mindset of Craig Counsell. That's what
The
I'm
mindset of
harping
Craig
on.
Counsell is
The
okay. We're
mindset of
playing
Craig
the
Counsell.
Royals, one of the worst teams. We should be able to take care of business.
They give
And
Michael Bush a day off too.
Tyrone Taylor looked pretty like he's. It's not like that's obviously it's a downgrade, but he's pretty serviceable in the outfield.
Last night. Now he made a play last night. Even they said, PCA makes that play, which
I'm
because
sure.
we're spoiled.
Yeah, I'm sure, but like
we're spoiled.
he's a
Conforto
decent.
today goes and dives
yeah.
at a ball he should have caught and goes over his mitt.
Mhm.
I'm not saying Suzuki would have caught it, but anyways, this whole thing because it goes back to what Council. I listened to him after they got Tyrone Taylor. He loves him because he played with him with the Brewers. He
Mhm.
wants to find at bats for him. He thought he found it, and he made it insinuated that Ian Happ would now not be playing against right-handed batters.
Mhm.
And it goes back into my Ian Happ crap. Just this week, everyone started to talk that Ian Happ may be getting to a point that we may have to think of sitting him. They all said it. Coomer said it on the game on Wednesday night. I think Ian Happ is struggling. He's in a slump. Look, he's been in a slump all year, Ian Happ. I don't know. They all know it. They are afraid. Even the score, they had a live broadcast on Monday, all right? And they had Ian Happ there. Tuesday, they were having Ian Happ on the radio, and they said, well, we got to discuss, too, how he feels now that Council may be sitting him games. Well, we couldn't do it yesterday because we're face-to-face. Even the score commentators admitted they were scared to say this in front of Ian Happ's face because they all see it. They know it, too. Ian Happ is struggling. Now they're going to say, all right, look at last night and today. All right, that's 2 games. He went and had, 3 games out of 4 where Ian Happ hit I forgot how many homers, 10 RBIs, and that's what jumped his stats up. So let's not get too crazy on these 2 games.
Mhm.
So I'm just back to that point of counsel. You said you were going to sit Ian Happ more. He started him against the left-handed batter on Friday night. Why? Because Ian Happ was pouting and you had to put him in there. So it's still counsel. And it goes back to last night's game. Here's what's going to hurt the Cubs, too. I'm really hot about this, too. If the Cubs are going to win the pennant and get to the World Series, a situation like last night is going to come up. Cubs are down. It's the ninth inning. All right. That righty lefty bullshit, which I can't stand. So what does he do? You've got leading off for that inning. You have Kelly, who was 1 for 3 in the game, who's probably one of your better hitters. All right. He pitch hits Kelly for Conforto. All right. Conforto got a base. I'll give you that. But he pitched hit him because of that righty lefty bullshit. Who comes up to base to bat next? Swanson. Swanson's stats 213, 291, 398, 689. It's the ninth inning. All right. If you go and score 3 runs and get into extra innings, or if you go ahead, we won't worry so much about Swanson. That is the guy you should have thought about pitch hitting for that righty lefty matchup. And you're like, all right, maybe he had something that there's a reason why. But the very next batter was the same thing. Taylor was up. He's a right-handed batter. He pitched hit Ramirez. So why? If Taylor just came there because he can hit, you're going to have to think about Swanson. There's going to come a situation where you're in a game situation. Swanson can't hit and knows. What do? You're going to have the guts, the balls to know I got to pitch hit for him. That's my take on, and that's going to happen. Mark my words.
Yeah.
What will counsel do? Will he be too much of a afraid coach to do it because he doesn't want to hurt people's feelings, or will he worry about winning? And that's what he has to do. And I do believe Swanson is. If you're a professional, you know what? You're not going to be happy. I get it, but then you're going to have respect for the coach and why he did.
Yeah, I'll be interested to pay attention to. Obviously, you've been very critical on Craig Counsell for his righty lefty bullshit, as we'll say. Probably got to get a whole segment on. We'll call it like righty lefty bullshit. And we'll do the moments of the week where Counsell pulls that one. But all right, I want to shift over to the next segment that I want to touch base on, and it's a take that I'm going to say out loud to you, and I want to get your reaction on it. Before I say this take, by the way, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys just drop a sub button real quick. Obviously helps the channel grow and helps us keep producing content for you guys. Also, You Don't Know Cubs podcast is brought to you by Wildcard Sports. Make sure you guys are following at WildcardNet on all socials. We post daily hot takes content across all sports. Anyways, all right. I have this take for you that I want to get your opinion on. So, the 2026 Chicago Cubs one of the greatest defensive teams of all time. And I think that is an underrated factor that a lot of people maybe not ignore, but just kind of maybe disregard in a sense of like how good this team actually is. Like when we talk about are the Cubs a top 5 team, I think easily their defense is the best in the league because you look at them as a team coming into Sunday, they had 82 defensive runs saved. The next closest team was the Tampa Bay Rays with 68, and the next closest team to the Rays was the Dodgers with 52. They are at an historic pace. And then they lead the MLB in fielding run value. Sorry, not just lead. They dominate it because the next closest team to them in field running value is the Cardinals with 27. They double the second place team. I mean, you look at them. PCA is going to win a platinum glove this year, no doubt. With platinum glove, if you don't know, that is the best defensive player of each league, National League, American League. PCA is going to win that. And then let's be honest, Dansby might not win the Gold Glove. Because he got Mason Wynn. I know he's pretty good, but he's up there really, really fighting for it. You look at someone like Seiya Suzuki. We like to rip on his defense. I know early in the season, and maybe sometimes he looks kind of lost out there. But Seiya Suzuki is well in Gold Glove consideration. You look at him; he's +6 fielding run value, +4 outs above average, +11 defensive runs saved, and he's got a +3 arm value. He's been playing really, really good in right field. Then you got Nico Horner. Obviously, his second base has been phenomenal all season. Bregman at third. Like, let's give him the credit. I think even when his offensive struggles weren't going his way, he has been playing really, really good third base. Ian Happ in left field. I mean, we talked about it. Gold Glove left fielder, obviously.
No. But you're forgetting about.
Okay. Not all right. You don't need it. Okay, but Michael Bush at first base as well. Obviously, his defense has been so good. This defensive team is just unreal. They are the best. I think they are one of the best defensive teams of all time. That's not a crazy take to say, in my opinion.
No, it's not. And when you look at, because they always say you're strong up the middle, catcher, center field, shortstop, and second. That's what you want to be. And let's be honest, their catcher's not elite by anyways. Their catching is mediocre. So by having a mediocre catcher, whether it's Amaya or whether it's Kelly, they are still they're still the top defense in all the MLB right now. And I think one of the other players that really goes that deserves a lot of that credit for the infield being as great as they are is Michael Bush. Now he's been getting, when I listen to a lot of the TV and the radio, I've been getting a lot of hype about his defense. He has become, in my mind, one of the top defensive first basemen in all of baseball. Just this week, they were saying what they credit to because he was a middle infielder. He was a second baseman and a third baseman, and that's what he got traded for, because to be a second baseman or third, and they moved him to first. He can pick a ball. I mean, his defense, when you watch, is just unbelievable, and that is the sole factor why, if you're Council, you sit him. Who do you put in his place? You lose. I mean, the drop off is, who are you going to put there? Carson Kelly is known as, supposedly, he's the backup for baseman. He's not in Bush's league by any means. So
No.
I think a lot of credit should go to Michael Bush for what he does to the entire infield, because the other guys are elite, but it makes them that much better. There's no doubt. You're 100% right. They are the elite. They should win Team Gold Glove this year. I can't see anyone else that will. And that is who can carry them to the next level when they're not scoring runs.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that out loud, because even when you think back on the season, and a lot of times we're ripping on this lineup for not producing, even obviously the pitching staff with all the injuries that they got, and you look at them and we have as great of a record as we have. You think back, how was that possible? And even in that amazing win streak we had back in, what was it, April or May it was because we were in all those games, late games, because of the defense. Saved a lot of runs. So that's the reason the Cubs are in the position they are right now, and I think that's what's going to carry them as we move to the playoffs.
And that's why it goes back to the whole thing. You have an opportunity here. Don't blow it. And they did. They brought in reinforcements. So don't blow it.
Okay.
Who's going to blow it? Council.
Yeah.
He's the only one that can blow it now. He's the only one.
Nah,
You've got all these players.
No, I agree with that. But as I mentioned too, let's talk about Alex Bregman, because I mentioned his defense has been pretty good, but we're starting to see his stick it. We're starting to see him stick it a little bit. And one moment that I think is kind of getting overlooked is on Thursday, the game versus the Blue Jays, when PCA had the magical walk-off. Like, he hit a walk-off. Carson Kelly was hosed at the plate, and then he does some base running magic to win it. Let's not forget that PCA may have walked off that game, but that was all because of Alex Bregman tying it up in the ninth inning with a 2-run bomb. Down to their last strike. Bregman clutches, that was easily the clutchest hit he's had in a Cubs uniform. And Bregman in August, we've said historically that's been his best month. And you look at his approach at the plate, I think he's attacking, he's being more aggressive to pitches in the zone. He's not chasing as much. I don't have his stats from August written down here. But
I got him in front of me. The last 7 games, he's hitting 294, 6 RBIs, only 1 homer. That was the one. 6 runs scored, 2 doubles, 3 walks, and 6 Ks. I mean, they're not, electrifying, but they're decent, especially compared to where he was prior to that. So he's been, can this catapult him? And that's including today's game, because he went 3 for 6 today, 2 RBIs. So you can only hope. You can only hope that this carries him, because let me tell you, if they have Bregman now through the rest of August, September, in the playoffs for what they thought they were getting, anything's possible. Anything's possible. He needs to become that. If he becomes that clutch hitter that we thought we were getting, anything's possible, because I really don't think PCA is going to light up here. There's no way. He's not letting up.
Yeah, you definitely need Bregman to be that 1-2 punch with PCA. One thing that's kind of interesting with Bregman, I know that it just seems like his personality, but has he like ever really shown emotion? Like I feel like all of his bombs, he's kind of just like sprint. Like at least in the 2-run bomb, he literally sprinted around the bases and just like
Well,
went
he
straight.
didn't know if it was a home run or not.
Was
That's what
that
he
why?
said.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't know if it was because it was a line drive, and plus he did show the emotion. The one home run, he went thumbs down as he's rounding the
True.
bases just to kind
Yeah.
of give it to the fans.
I guess.
But
Yeah.
that's about all the emotion he really does have.
Which is good and
Um,
bad. I mean, it's good and bad to like stay level. Maybe that's what he was trying to do,
yeah.
but it's just different from PCA, obviously, which we're kind of used to now.
Oh,
Always showing
yeah, they're
emotion.
two different. Plus,
Um,
he's older. I mean, what was he, 10, 12 years older than him? He's more mature. He's got a family. PCA's still a kid. I don't
right.
even know if PCA has a girlfriend. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. No, he
So,
does. Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole different character that you're dealing
Hmm.
with Bregman.
Hmm.
And we're not paying him to show emotion. We're paying him to produce.
Hmm.
And if he produces, we'll give the emotion that's due.
Hmm.
So when you don't produce, we'll also give you the emotion deserving so.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's how I take it.
Yeah. So, like we said, we'll look out for Bregman. Hopefully, that he keeps those numbers up. I want to talk about the
Yeah.
pitchers now, though, because we had 2 debuts. But actually, before we talk about the pitchers, I need to just throw this out there for you. Remember before the home run derby this year, and you were questioning the MOB why Jack Caglione was in the home run derby? Well, we just found out on Saturday, 4-for-4 day. How about that? That
Okay,
was
yeah,
kind
that was against the Cubs.
I know.
Yeah, that was against the. Well, then why wasn't he? Why didn't he get elected to the All Star? What my point was, how bad is the home run derby when you can't even get an All Star to go and participate in home run derby?
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm like, where did Jack Caglione? Because he wasn't even hitting at all the last like month, and
No,
then obviously Saturday,
no.
huge four,
Jeez,
he killed us.
yeah, and it was against my guy who I love, but
Hmm.
he did. But you can rip into Clay Holmes all you want, but it's his first start. I'll give that same old cliche.
Yeah.
He did
So
have, I think he had 9 ground ball. They were talking about it today. He had, I think, 9 ground ball outs, and that's the key factor. Was he getting the ground ball outs?
mhm,
So everything else was he was just missing location with his pitches, and that's why they teed off on him. So there was things to look at where you can say, all right, I think we'll be okay with him if he can settle down. So
mhm.
it's his first game since May
Yeah.
pitching in the MLB.
No reason. So obviously Clay Holmes made his debut with the Cubs. He went 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, gave up 4 runs, and only had 1 strikeout. And obviously you're going to get some delusional Cubs fans that are crying about it and saying, "Oh, what did we trade this guy for?" Like you said, it was his first start since May 15th. Okay, he hasn't thrown like this is a brand new team for him. Got to come over. Like you can't really expect. And I feel like a lot of the pitchers outside of around the league, outside of Kevin Gausman, when they made their first start in a new team, it wasn't all that much better. So you gotta almost look at David Peterson. I mean, when he came up and the 10-run game when he gave up
That's his
10 runs versus the
second game.
Cardinals
Yeah.
in the second game, since that moment, 2 ERA in his last 5 starts. So maybe it just takes some guys to settle in a little bit. I mean, obviously, like he
Plus,
did
look
get.
at baseball. They've won 5 in a row, the Cubs.
Mhm,
It's hard to keep winning.
mhm.
So to me, he was the fall guy. And you faced Jack that had, like you just said, 4-for-4, 2 homers. I mean, he faced him, and that was it. 4 RBIs. He doesn't hit those 2 homers. Cubs win 3-2.
Mhm. And Clay Holmes isn't a huge strikeout guy. We saw what we expected with the ground balls. I mean, that's what's going to be key for
Nine
us.
ground ball
Yeah.
outs. Yeah,
Mhm.
out of 12, because he only pitched 4 innings. So out of 12 of the outs, 9 were ground ball outs.
Mhm.
That's what you want out of him. And that's what you take out of that game as a positive note with Clay Holmes
Yeah.
going
So
forward.
when would his next start be? Like, I don't think the Cubs play on Thursday, but
Sunday. So they don't
oh, no,
play
they do
Monday.
play Thursday.
Thursday, Friday. So it'll be Friday. I think he will
Friday.
pitch Friday's
Okay.
game. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's gonna be at home. Cardinals, yeah, big series. But what about
So
yeah, what about Kevin Gausman though? Like, so Kevin Gausman first start. I mean, he
he looked great.
immediately
Yeah, he
ties
looked
his
great.
deepest start of the year. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. Fastball set at 95. It was a full tick higher than his season average. So yeah, Velo looked solid. Generated 14 whiffs. Retired 19 in the last 21 he faced. He looked like I mean, we were talking about Clay Holmes as the ace. Kevin Gausman looked like he could be the ace of this team.
Well, that's what they're saying right now. Just today they were talking already about who's your playoff starter. Gausman 1, Boyd is 2. Now it all depends on what Clay Holmes does going forward. Will he be or Shota? Because if Clay doesn't, then Shota will be. And they're talking mostly because Cabrera's due to come back,
Mhm.
and I don't see Cabrera being in the starting lineup. He needs to show me. They already set Assad's out. Colin Ray, because he came in yesterday, he's out of the starting rotation, which is fine. So it's when it comes playoff time, it's between Shota and Clay.
So give me
That's what
your
it is.
five. So give me your 5-man starting rotation right now in the playoffs.
Oh, well, you're only going to go three.
Okay.
You only need three in the playoffs. So right now, it looks like it's gonna be Gosman and Boyd. Your 1-2. Those are your 1-2. Your three is up in the air. You would like to see. I personally would like to see Clay Holmes take over that third spot because I don't trust Shota. With giving up the home runs based on last year. Does he deserve it? He deserved it last year, and look what happened. He
Mhm.
deserves it this year because he's held that pitching staff at bay throughout the season. But I'd rather see in a 7-game series show to be your fourth starter when you do need one. That's how I look at it.
See, but do you think there's any concern with if they took like a Shota or even Edward Cabrera, guys that have been starting pitchers for their whole major league career, and you moved them to the bullpen? Maybe that obviously kind of scratches off, like jumps them off the routine a little bit. Is there any concern there with
No,
how their performance?
because the mentality is really simple. You're telling these guys right from the get go, we need you still. We still need Cabrera. There's no doubt. We need to know that if something should happen, and especially let's just say a playoff situation. Look at last year, the Brewers. Mizorowski, I think, pitched then two or whatever. He didn't start the game. I think Priester started a game. Miz came in for 2 or 3 innings. Then they had Patrick. That was one of the games. Those are three studs on the Brewers that pitched one game.
Mhm.
That's what we may need in the playoffs. That's what Council wanted. He wanted that flexibility. He wanted those options. He feels that that is the only way that can carry. Dave Roberts did the same thing with his pitching staff these last 2 years. So, no, you have to be able to tell Cabrera, here's your role on this team. It's huge because that's a huge role.
Yeah.
And I like Cabrera if you tell him that you need to go amp it up for 2 innings. If I get 1, 2, maybe 3 innings out of you, that's all I'm asking. Amp it up, And same thing with Colin Ray. Colin Ray was supposed to be that guy last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then look at Steele got hurt and he went to staff. He was supposed to be the guy this year, and Cade Horton got hurt. Then they had to move him up. So Colin Ray will be fine.
Right.
Assad will be fine.
I was gonna just add about Conray because I would love to know what their thought process is changing roles because I was going out for a run today and as I was listening to some other recaps, Conray's obviously switched over to mop up duty when the Cubs are up big, down big. He'll come in and eat those innings up so the council doesn't have to use the rest of the bullpen. Going from a starter in this rotation, having some good outings, and then getting moved to not a role where it's looked down on at all, but definitely
Right.
more of the lower end role. Like, how does that affect the mindset of a pitcher? I mean, obviously, Colin, like these are all professionals. They just want to help the team win. I'm assuming this isn't like the NFL where you get some drama people when they aren't getting the ball, like a receiver or something. So I would love to know what the mindset is. Like, is there any different? Do they have like an attitude towards that, or if they're just like fuck it, like that's my new role. I just want to help the team win. And I think Colin Ray seems like that guy. That's what his
If
mindset
you
would be
did
like.
have that attitude, we don't need you on this team.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because they're all fighting for jockeying for positions now going forward.
Hmm.
They're all fighting for who's going to be the seventh inning guy, who's going to be the eighth inning guy, and who's going to be the closer. Right now, Webb, it looks like he may be locked in as the closer. All right.
Hmm.
What's his name? He pitched today. Who was that guy that they got?
Stafford John.
Yeah, I can't say his name right. He looks like he might be locked in as his eighth inning guy.
Hmm.
Um, then you need the seventh. I just don't want Thornton and I don't want Thielbar. All right, I
Hmm.
just can't. I just have no faith in it. They're saying you go by their stats. No, because here's the thing: they would come in with men on and in scoring position. They'd give up that hit, and then they would shut them down. So to me, that their stats are not justified for what they did and perform. Thornton walks too many guys. He puts too many people on base. He misses that strike zone. So you got Assad, you got Colin Ray, who are fighting for that fifth, sixth inning role. Who can Council count on? You
Mhm.
know, and in the playoffs, it may be the fourth, fifth, sixth, or fourth and fifth inning. So you've got Colin Ray, you've got Cabrera, you've got Assad. Those three are fighting and jockeying for position. Who can Craig count on in those moments? So I think that's what's exciting. So
100%. Be interested to see how the bullpen shapes out. But the Cubs, okay, you look at their next schedule, the remaining schedule in August. They got the midweek 3-game series versus the Nationals. Then they're going to host the
which could be
Cardinals,
tough. Yeah.
100%. And then they host the White Sox at Seattle, at the D-backs, which is going to be a huge series fighting for the wild card spot. I mean, the D-backs are
Yes.
right there. And then they host the Reds. So to me, it's like, it's go time. Like it's good. We have the
Oh, it
roster.
is.
It's built.
Yeah,
It's time to hit the. Like
it
we got to
is.
go. Like it's time to make that push. Chase on the
It's
Brewers. I
one
believe they're
week at a
4.5
time.
right now.
I like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 1 week at a time. We had a tremendous week. There's no doubt. Won 6 out of 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they've won 8 straight series on the road after today. So they've been playing good ball. They've been one or two. I think they've been the best team since June in the MLB.
Right.
Boston's right up there.
Right.
So they've been playing pretty goddamn good ball. Let's keep it rolling. Let's just go week by week. Win these series. You got the Nats who can score runs, even though they lost Garcia Jr. They can still score. That's the thing. Woods is out, but they're still scoring runs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't give up those long balls. So you got 3 tough games at Washington, and then you got the Cardinals. You want to put the Cardinals away next weekend, you will. You take 2 out of 3, you're putting them away.
Yeah. And here's a
So
question that I want to ask you just for the end of the show to wrap things up. In a perfect world, let's say the Cubs made the World Series. In the National League Championship Series, would you rather see the Cubs beat the Dodgers or the Brewers to go to the World Series?
I think they're going to play both teams to get there. I think they're going to match
Probably.
up with
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna
So
run into both. I think it'd just be
I
cooler beating the. I know this is a hot take, but I think it'd be cooler seeing them beat the Brewers. Only because I feel like the Brewers have had
there's
their
no
numbers
doubt
in the
for
playoffs. People will say the Dodgers taking out. I
he
think.
needs to
Mhm.
get over that hump. If he escapes and I'm talking about Council, if he escapes the Brewers, then there should be no reason to not get to the World Series.
Mhm.
There, to my mind, I don't care if you're playing the Padres or playing good ball. I don't care if you're playing Arizona and are playing good ball or the Braves or good ball. If you escape the Brewers, because no matter what, the Brewers have the Cubs go. The Brewers could be the wild card team. The Cubs could win the division. The Brewers are still a tough team to beat.
Mhm.
So you need to beat the Brewers. If you escape them, your path is World Series.
Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, totally. This was early in the season when the Cubs were in LA playing the Dodgers. Did they take that? They won that series, right? Did they take it like 2-1?
I can't. They won the first one. I thought they lost the last two. I think
Did
they only
they?
went 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay. Because didn't Seiya? I remember Seiya had like a key hit, or someone had a key hit. I thought it was Seiya.
That was yeah, I think the game one, I think, is who they won. I forgot who they faced, a decent pitcher. But
Mhm.
I'm not worried about the Dodgers because you know what? The thing is, the Dodgers to repeat, that's a lot of pressure on them.
No
And
doubt.
they got a lot of question marks. We just had our guy. He's texting me tonight too. Can't believe the Dodgers lost 8 out of 9 now. I mean, he's crying, they're hurting, but we've been there, so I know you're going to listen to this.
Hmm.
Mr. H, I'll just say, I know you're listening. You're going to still cry, the poor Dodgers. Hey, you guys got your team. You stacked your team with all that money and all your players. You got your new guy, Scooble, who's
Hmm.
bad rapping everyone else. So, it's tough to three-peat. It is tough.
It's tough
So
to
I don't feel
three-peat, but
sorry
when
for
you
you.
look at that rotation when they're all healthy, I mean, it's like, geez, bro, it's probably the
But
best
they
rotation
are,
ever assembled.
yeah, and who's the one guy in MLB said that they're like a National League All-Star team.
They
They're
are.
like
They
a National.
literally are.
But the other key fact that is they're an old National League All Star team. He was complaining just last week. Mookie can't hit. Mookie's got to hit, and then he goes what 4 for 4 that last game. They
Mhm.
still lost the game to the Cubs.
Mhm.
They are old. Anything can happen to them. I love Freddie Freeman. He could be running the bases on a ground ball and twist an ankle. So, because
Mhm.
he's an old guy.
I mean,
So,
let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, their championship window. I mean, it's always going to be there, but with the core that they got right now with Freddie Freeman, Mookie, even Shohei, I don't know Max Muncy aged right off the top of my
he's a
head.
stud, though,
He is a
Max,
stud.
this
So Max
year.
Muncy's 35. So I mean,
I was complaining
they're getting
too. And
old. They
interesting
are
about
getting old.
Max, they're getting old. The Max Muncy is, why was he batting? I think it was seventh in the lineup. I was texting Mr. H too about that. I mean, and then as I'm doing it, he goes and hits a 2-run homer too. I go,
Mhm.
see, why is he not hitting cleanup? I don't get it. Why he's not hitting 4 or 5? He's probably one of your better hitters on that team. Why is he batting seventh or eighth? I don't get that move. And that's when he had Tommy Edmonds batting leadoff, and the only hit he had in the series was the first at bat when he hit the 2-run homer. I don't get
Mhm.
that. Little Tommy Evans batting third and fourth. He was batting cleanup that day. So
I think his
that's
average is pretty
Roberts.
high,
Roberts,
but yeah,
yeah, no, it's not that high, but that's Roberts. Roberts, he gets lucky as a manager. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
because look at some of the players that have won it for them. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like, and that's what it takes. You need some unsung hero to win it for you. If
No
you're gonna
doubt.
win, you need who's going to be so for the
It's gonna be your
Cubs. You
Zobers.
know who it'll be? Nah, yeah, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be Conforto. So then I got to really give a lot of shit.
Probably, it probably will
You
be.
know,
He
it'll be
has come up
Conforto,
big
and
at
I'm
some
okay
points.
with it.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'll take it. If he's the stud, or it might be Tyrone Taylor. It's going to be some guy like that to come through. Dansby, you're going to need Dansby in the playoff to just get hot, turn into Zorbus, or Nico, someone, because
I think it's gonna be Hap.
it's exciting.
Ian Happ is gonna hit a big home run in the
No,
playoffs.
because then they're going to want to sign him for next year. Can you imagine
I
if he
know.
won the World Series for the Cubs? What will they do next year? I mean,
Yeah, you still
I
got
can't
Ian
have
Happ,
him.
but yeah,
Yeah, let's just get through this year before you got to worry about Ian Happ. He is a nice guy. I mean, there's no doubt.
yeah,
He's a
he's a
good
great guy.
guy.
Yeah,
Like
he's
we
a great
say
guy.
about certain guys, man, another guy who will understand. Yeah, but he's a good kid. How many times do we hear that too with all your buddies? Yeah, but they're good kids.
Yeah, no, we hear that
Even
a
though
lot.
they're fuck up all the time. Yeah, but they're good kids. Ian Happ's a good guy.
Yeah.
Well.
Well, all right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you are staying tuned. We do these podcasts every single Sunday after the Cubs wrap up their series. And we're hitting, like we said, it's go time now for them. So we'll be start heating it up these next few weeks. But appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time.